Hi everyone! Today we're going to go over how to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. But before we do so, let's discuss what a mixed number is, what an improper fraction is, and what the relationship between the two is. So, what is a mixed number? A mixed number is made up of a whole number and a proper fraction. If you look at the example here, we have 4 3/4. It is a mixed number because it has both the whole number and a proper fraction, the whole number being 4 and the proper fraction being 3/4. So what is an improper fraction? An improper fraction is a fraction that is worth more than one whole. And how do I know that? What gives it away that is worth more than one whole? What gives it away is that the numerator, which is the top number, is bigger than the denominator, which is the bottom number. Remember, the numerator represents the amount of pieces you have. The denominator represents the amount of pieces that make up the whole. So if you have more pieces than the amount that makes up the whole, you have more than one whole. So for example, if I order pizza for a party and one whole pizza is 8 slices and we eat 9 slices, we ate more than one whole pizza. We actually ate one whole pizza plus one slice out of the 8 of that second one. And that is a great example actually of the relationship between a mixed number and a whole number. They both represent more than one whole, but they do so in different ways. With that said, let's now do and practice a few strategies that help us convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. And why do I want to practice a few different strategies to solve the same problem, or in this case, convert a mixed number into an improper fraction? I do so for a couple reasons. The first one is that I want you to have the opportunity to learn different ways to solve the same problem. And that's very important in math. There are different pathways to getting the answer, to getting the solution, or to figure out the problem. The second one, and I think this is very important, is that we're all different kind of thinkers. And because we're different kind of thinkers, we might be able to understand the exact same concept in different ways. So the goal of this is that you have a strategy that works best for you. And this is also super important. The strategy that works best for you in math might not be the same one that works best for me. But what we want to do is use the strategy that makes the most sense for you, that is the easiest for you, and then really helps you better understand the actual concept. With that said, let's do a few strategies for solving or converting 4 3/4 into an improper fraction. So the first thing I want to do is notice my whole number is 4 and my proper fraction here is 3/4. What do I notice as well? I want to notice that my denominator is 4. And why do I want to notice that the denominator is 4? Because I know the denominator represents the total pieces that make up one whole, correct? So I know that in order for me to have one whole, I have to have 4 pieces. What do I also notice? That I have 4 wholes. So let's convert it by using drawings or tape diagrams. I think for some of us, it's really helpful to draw it out, to really see it, to go beyond the numbers, to understand the math. And the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a visual representation on my original 4 3/4. So that's one cake, a second cake, a third cake, and the 4 cakes, or the whole 4 holes. I'm going to shade it in because that represents I have all 4 of them with me. But I'm not done because I still have 3 out of 4 pieces of that 5th cake or 5th box of pizza or 5th object that I have, right? I have 3 out of 4 slices. The next step is to split up each of those holes into 4 pieces because I know that that is what makes it up. And now I'm going to count how many total pieces I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So each hole has 4. So now I can count by 4s. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. And I pause because I have now 3 out of 4 pieces. So 16 plus 3 is 19. And my denominator still represents the total pieces that make one whole, which is 4. Therefore, 4 3/4 as an improper fraction is 19/4. So now that we've used the visual example, let's do a couple of other ones. So let's do a second strategy of converting 4 3/4 into an improper fraction. So I go back to reminding myself, and I can even write it down so I don't forget, that a whole number in a fraction has a denominator and a numerator that are the exact same, because that means I have all the pieces that make up one whole. And when I look at the fraction, then I have my mixed number, my denominator is 4. Therefore, I write to myself that 1 whole equals 4 fourths. But I notice that I have 4 wholes. Therefore, I need 4 4/4. So I break it up or decompose my 4 into 4 fractions that equal 1. So I have 4/4, a second 4/4, a third 4/4, and a 4 4/4. And yes, I agree with you, Miss Martinez has said 4/4 a lot in this video. So now that I've broken up my whole number into 4 fractions that equal 1 whole, that gives me a total of 4. I'm going to add up those fractions. And remember, my denominator does not change when I added fractions. I only add up my numerator. Why? Because the total number of pieces that make up the whole do not change when I combine those fractions. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. And 12 plus 4 is 16 fourths. Therefore, 4 equals 16 fourths, but I am not done because I have 4 and 3/4. So I combine the 16 fourths, which once again equals a 4, plus the 3/4 I had, and 16 fourths plus 3/4 equals 19 fourths. Let's do a third and final strategy. Okay, let's do that third and final strategy. My third and final strategy is related to the second one I use, but with a twist. So let's go back to it. I have 4 3/4. I know my denominator is 4, and a fraction equals 1 when the numerator and denominator are the same. Therefore, 4/4 equals 1. I also know that I have 4 wholes. I also remember that repeated addition, which is what I'm doing because I'm adding the exact same number here, is the same as multiplication. Therefore, I'm going to multiply 4/4, which equals 1, times the amount of wholes I have, which is 4. And in order to use this strategy, I have to remember that when I multiply a whole number times a fraction, I multiply the whole number by the numerator and my denominator remains the same. And the reason behind it is because when I'm multiplying a fraction by a whole number, what I'm really doing is adding up that fraction over and over again. And as you know, my denominator, or the total pieces I have, does not change because I combine them. So I multiply 4 times 4, which gives me a product of 16. And as we said, my denominator remains the same. So 4/4 times 4 gives me a product of 16 fourths. That represents my 4 wholes. So I combined it or added up with the 3/4 I already had. And my sum equals 19 fourths. So using any of the strategies or all of the strategies we've just reviewed, can you at home solve these two problems? Can you convert 3 6/8 and 2 1/2 into improper fractions? Go ahead and have some fun. Bye.